Now, this is a report courtesy of comicbookmovie.com. Now, they actually cite the Hollywood Reporter for this, and I've tried to track it down, but I actually can't find it. So, unfortunately, I can't find the original article that this is from. Now, it was the Hollywood Reporter that had originally dropped this news that there was going to be a planned X-Men versus Fantastic Four crossover movie. And then, since then, they've then got more information about it. But again, like I say, I can't find the original article that this particular article is citing. So it states, obviously, earlier this month, X-Men First Class screenwriter Zack Stentz revealed that at the beginning of the decade, 20th Century Fox almost greenlit a massive crossover movie that would have seen the X-Men, Fantastic Four, Daredevil, and even Deadpool all share the screen under the direction of the Bourne filmmaker Paul Greengrass. Which I did a report on this, and I said that actually, in fairness, Paul Greengrass would have been a great director. He does visceral action very, very well. So it was a massive surprise, obviously, but also a bit of a shame because Paul Greengrass is actually a good director. Now it says, obviously, however, for reasons unknown, Fox opted to give their X-Men franchise a soft reboot once First Class was a success, and the rest is obviously history. Now it states, Stentz decided not to divulge any plot details, but the Hollywood Reporter has now managed to unearth the never-before-told story. And again, if I click this link to head through to the Hollywood Reporter, and I've got some other articles from the Hollywood Reporter here anyway, I can't find anything. There is nothing anywhere. So take this with a pinch of salt. I may just not be able to find it, but I've tried. I tried for a good half an hour. So that's that's all by the by, I guess. But it states, and not only does it sound incredibly ambitious, it could have ultimately gone down as one of the best superhero movies ever made in a pre-Avengers world. I actually would have agreed to a certain degree, only with a caveat that it is a pre-Avengers world. That's something which is very, very important to note when judging this as a good movie and as a kind of an ambitious, great superhero crossover. So it states, according to their sources, Fox had plans to build toward a massive crossover film that would have seen the X-Men square off against the Fantastic Four. So it was those two key players, two key teams here. So as First Class writers Ashley Edward Miller and Zack Stentz were enlisted to pen the script, which would have apparently seen Johnny Storm go Nova while trying to apprehend the villain Molecule Man. So obviously just would have went supernova, basically. And now, interestingly enough, this plays very much like Civil War and elements that have been in Marvel movies. But again, it's important to note, this would have been before that, to a large degree. So it states this would have resulted in him accidentally blowing a hole in Manhattan, and in response to the carnage, the government is forced to introduce the Superhero Registration Act. Again, Marvel tropes, things that we've already seen played out. But this would have been somewhat ahead of its time. So it states that the heroes from both teams would be split on opposing sides, and one of the key fights was set to feature Wolverine, Hugh Jackman, of course, taking on Mr. Fantastic. Now, there's no one listed for these particular roles, because obviously I don't think I'm fairly certain that Fantastic Four wasn't out at this point in time, so again, your guess is as good as mine who would have played these roles. Hopefully not, Michael Chiklis thing. That would have been hilarious. But it states a battle that would end up with Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic, pinning Wolverine down, extending his hands until they are one molecule wide, and then using them as scissors to cut off Logan's arms. Unbelievable. Whether this would have been R-rated or not, who knows? But sounds great for an action set piece anyway. After a series of equally intense events, the heroes... This part I don't really get. The heroes eventually just make peace with one another. And the post-credit scene would have set up the next film with the tease of a Super Skrull invasion. Because, of course, Fox are able to use the Skrulls. And it's something which they probably should have done for the latest X-Men Dark Phoenix. Now, it states, obviously, that Bourne director Paul Greengrass had been in talks to direct, but due to another commitment, the two sides were never able to come to a formal agreement. So it was in discussion stages. Then, following the success of Matthew Vaughn's X-Men First Class, the studio put the uber ambitious crossover project on the back burner and decided to stay on their current trajectory, moving toward X-Men Days of Future Past instead. The script was completed. It was completed. There were pitches made. They were talking to directors. I think, and again, it's really important to note, pre-Avengers World, I think this would have been quite good. I genuinely think this would have been quite good. But I hand it on over to you. What do you think? Could this have been good? Would this have been good? Let me know down below in the comment section. Now,